Good morning, Ray. Thank you for coming. And the learning this morning and also breakfast throughout the week is sponsored by Shiff, Meyer and Lisa Goodman. L'zecha, their grandfather, Louis Simon, Eliezer, Yehuda ben Aharon on his 45th Yahrzeit. I know he was here in Long Beach, and may his memory be a blessing. And the Torah this morning should be L'zecha Nishmas. Today is a 10th of Teves. And today when the Babylonians began the siege of Jerusalem, which led to 18 months later on to the destruction of the first temple. But really, in days gone by, it was really a 3-day fast, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. We combined it all into the 10th of 10th of Teves. What was the fasting about? On the 8th day of Teves was the day that the Septuagint, the translation of the Torah into Greek, was completed, and the king Ptolemy gathered 70 sages in 70 different rooms, and the miracle was that they all came out with the same translation of the Torah in Greek. The joke is that the rabbis say, had they all been in one room, they never would have had 70 unifying documents. The rabbis joke and say that the reason why they were successful in having, they were able to have a translation that was uniform for all 70 sages because they were in 70 rooms. Had been all together in one room, we wouldn't have had a uniform translation. But But the fact, why was that considered darkness? Because now the Torah was able to get to the mass on a superficial level. I think it's more than that because the Greeks didn't want to get rid of Judaism. They wanted to incorporate it. To say, listen, you can still Greek culture is superior, but you can still study Judaism like a book. They wanted to lessen the holiness of Judaism, take away the mystique of Judaism. Anyway, so the 8th day was the day that the Septuagint was finished. It's considered a dark day according to the Talmud. The 9th day of Teves was the Yahrzeit of Ezra and Nehemiah, who did so much for Yiddishkeit and bringing Jews back to Israel. And of course, the 10th day was the breach. However, Professor Lyman and also Professor Sperber note that this is one of these days. I think it's the 9th is the Yahrzeit of Paul. If you remember, when Christianity first began, according to this theory, the thought was the rabbis were upset because you had Hebrew Christians, or people who celebrated Christianity, but they were celebrating all the Jewish rituals. You couldn't tell somebody who was Jewish, somebody who was an early Christian. So what happened was the rabbi sent Paul to change things. So Saturday became Sunday to make a separation between Judaism and the Nascent Christianity. So they say that one of these days was his Yahrzeit as well. They didn't want to publicize it so much, but it's buried inside these 3 days. Peter. I'm sorry, Peter. You're right, Peter. So that was the reason why it's also these 3 dark all incorporated into one. Again, the reason why we fast is to also bring us to Shuvah. And even when the breach of Jerusalem took place, had we done Shuvah and the beginning of the whole process, we could have averted the whole thing. But that's a unity of fasting that we should just reflect on where we are and what we could be doing and should be doing. And this way we'll make sure that we have unity. We'll bring Mashiach. We'll bring back the Beis Hamikdash speedily in our days. Have an easy fast. Rav Chanan Makash on Kadosh Baruch Hu Zakos Es Yisrael.